Parvatikar, the preserver and protector of all, you are without beginning and without end, non-dual, beyond comparison, and none can measure you. You're without color, without expression, without form, and without attributes. You're unlimited and unfathomable. You're beyond imagination and conception. You're eternal and imperishable. You're invisible, and none can see but with eyes divine. You always were, you always are, and you always will be. You're everywhere, you're in everything. You're also beyond everywhere and beyond everything. You're in the firmament and in the depths. You're in manifest and unmanifest, on all planes and beyond all planes. You're in the three worlds and beyond three worlds. You're imperceptible and independent. You're the creator of the lords, the knower of all minds and hearts. You're omnipotent and omnipresent. Your knowledge infinite, power infinite, and bliss infinite. You're the ocean of knowledge, all-knowing, infinitely knowing. You're the past, present, and future. Your knowledge itself. You're all-merciful, eternally benevolent. Your souls of souls, one with infinite attributes. You're the trinity of truth and the knowledge of and bliss. You're the source of truth, the ocean of love. You're the ancient one, highest of the high. You're Prabhu and Parameshwar. You're beyond God and beyond God also. You're Brahma, Allah, Ilah, Yazdan, our Mazda, and God the Beloved. You're named after Izzat, the only one worthy of worship.
Awesome. Sahana, do you want to do prayer of repentance?
Okay. We repent, O God, most merciful, for all our sins, for every thought that was false or unjust or unclean, for every word spoken that ought not to have been spoken, and for every deed done that ought not to have been done. We repent for every deed and word and thought inspired by selfishness, and for every deed and word and thought inspired by hatred. We repent most especially for every lustful thought and for every lustful action, for all lie, for all hypocrisy, and for all slander and backbiting. Most especially also we repent for every action that has brought ruin to others, for every word and deed that has given others pain, and for every wish that pain should befall others. In your unbounded mercy, we ask you to forgive us, O God, for all these sins committed by us, to forgive us for our constant failures to think and speak and act according to your will.
Awesome. Meher, do you want to do the last prayer?
Yeah. Beloved God, help us all to love you more and more, and still yet more, till we become the worthy of your name, and help us all to hold fast to Baba's arm until the very end.
All right. Avtar, Meher, Baba ki jai. So, guys, so today we're going to be, and I don't know if I tried to send a message through most of the groups to your parents and stuff, but the month of May, especially towards the end of the month, May 24th, is particularly important for Baba lovers. Can anyone tell me why or what's so significant? Sahana?
Wait, this month?
Yes, this month. What's on May 24th?
I think it's like in Oklahoma or something.
What about it?
I think it was like some crash with Baba and the women Mandalay.
Correct.
I think.
So Baba had his accident in 1952. Okay. So what we're going to be doing is, I figured, okay, we have about 4 weeks before the event, right? On the 24th. So I actually want to see faces. Please turn on your videos because otherwise I feel like I'm talking to a blank screen. But can you guys tell me what, like, okay, between Shireen, so Sahana talked a little bit about it, Shireen, Meher, Srinidhi, do you guys have any idea what happened, when it happened, or any of that information?
I remember the it was in 1952, wasn't it?
That's right. So what I thought it would be nice if we actually spend some time learning about it, right? Like I myself have a lot to learn about it. So I thought as a group, we can all start learning. We do have some adults here. So it would be nice if we could, all kind of learn together, and let's make this an interactive session, right? So what I did, and I kind of put some slides together. It is a lot of reading, but I I got these from Lord Meher, and I thought it would be nice if we can start going through it. And I also wanted to kind of build up to it, right? Because it's kind of important, right, for us to know what happened before, the 1952 accident, and then also as we go through the weeks, we'll learn more and more about it and significance, right? So we all understand by the time the 24th comes, we're more knowledgeable, right? And we understand the situation better. You guys up for that? Yeah? All right. So again, it is a lot of reading today. I try to put some excerpts from Lord Meher and stuff that I was finding online. So there's going to be probably a little bit of wiggling here and there. So let me share my screen. Can you guys see it? Yeah? Yes, no, maybe so?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I like it this way better. Okay, so this is something that I figured we'll all talk about and learn a little bit. So I actually went back into, early in 1952, and this is something that I found, which I thought was really interesting because I've always focused on the accident, but never really knew, what went before that, right? So, Srinidhi, do you want to start reading?
Sure.
Okay.
Pune in Bombay, 1952. On Wednesday, 13th February 1952, Baba with the woman visited Meherbad for the first time since the new life began. He and the woman went back the next day also. It had been 2.5 years since those at Meherabad had seen Baba. On the 15th, Baba appointed Padri manager of Meherabad and reappointed Kaka Baria manager of Meherazabad. During the new life, while Badri was in Meherazabad, Sidhu had been manager of Meherabad. As announced, Baba's seclusion ended completely on the 16th, as he began staying once again in his bedroom in the main house. On Sunday, 17th February, Baba, along with Meher, Mani, Mehru, and Goher, left Meherzabad for Bombay in Nariman's car. Merji, Nariman, Kitty, Rano, and Rano traveled in Merji's car. On the way, they halted a while at Bindra's house in Pune, where a small darshan program was held. Baba and the woman were going to Bombay to obtain visas to proceed to America. Don, Neelu, and Sir Gustaji were to accompany Baba to west, and also went to Bombay with Sarosh in his car.
Okay, so what I wanted to, and then this is the reason, there's a reason why we're going back a little bit, is because I thought it was interesting as I was reading that, this Baba's trip to the West happened right after his end of the new life, which was, like 2.5 years, right? Where, do you guys know a little bit about the new life at all? I know we've talked about it a long time ago with Meherina auntie. Sahana, do you remember? Or Meher Shireen?
I do.
Yeah, Sahana, why don't you tell us with your video on?
It's basically like like basically it's like I don't know how to describe it though.
Okay, what did Baba do during the new life?
Well, he went from door to door to get food, and they just left everything.
That's right. They gave
They
up
just left simply.
all worldly possessions, right? So they left
Yeah.
no money, right? They couldn't touch money, right? And they lived all over as, literally wherever they found space, or, they begged for food. So it was a life of hopelessness and helplessness, right? So and they were basically like Baba said, at the mercy of God, right? And they were supposed to remain cheerful at all times, no matter how many hardships they faced. So, are you guys cheerful during hardships? No, right? It's kind of hard. But Baba did set us a really good example. So, what I thought I wanted to share this portion of the story with you because this happened right after the new life. And it was interesting that this is in February and Baba, after 2.5 years, went back to Merazad. So people who were in Merazad hadn't seen him for that long. And then right after he went there, they went back to Pune to start getting their visas because they had to come to the West, right? All right. So who wants to read next? Sahana, you want to read? Okay. Oops, I'm sorry.
Oh.
So I'll read a little bit in the beginning because I think that's important. So what happened is during this time, Baba was suffering from hemorrhoids and a fissure. So it's basically like really painful stuff that you have. And he had to go through an operation, right? I mean, we don't have to read word for word, but I have it in front of you guys. So during the surgery, the doctor accidentally like dropped something really hot on Baba, right on his back, basically near his back. And there was no anesthesia. So can you imagine when something like really hot falls on you? However, Baba didn't utter a single sound. And to me, when I was reading this today, I thought, oh my God, how can that be, right? How like, we have like small scrapes and stuff. How do you react? Sahana, how do you react if you get a small boo-boo?
Well, sometimes when I get a cut, I say ow, but it doesn't even hurt. But sometimes I'm like, ow, and like it burns or it just, or when it's a scab, this is a bad habit of mine. I pick my scabs, which is probably really disgusting.
Okay.
So
maybe we won't talk about your bad habits, but how does Meher or Shireen or Srinidhi react when they get hurt?
Like scream maybe because it really hurts.
Yeah. Shireen, you want to turn on your video because when you guys talk, it'll, it focuses on your face, right? So
yeah, my video is not really working right now.
Oh, that's okay. So what about Meher, Srinidhi? You guys, how do you react when you get hurt?
I just, unless it's really bad, I don't cry.
Okay.
Unless like once I broke my ankle and yeah, I cried. But
you must have some high pain tolerance then.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, and then like once I fell off my bicycle and like yeah, it was really bad. I still have the scars.
Oh.
But yeah, maybe when I was younger, but I get hurt a lot. Like yesterday I fell down and scraped my knee.
Ouch. So you must I guess you're following Baba's path when not reacting. So that's good. What about Meher? What does Meher do when he is, gets hurt?
I kind of like go like, ah.
That's it? Ow.
Yeah, I kind of have like a reaction like this.
Okay. So you're pretty quiet too then, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess everybody is different, but it's amazing, right? Like Baba didn't even utter a word. So this doctor who was performing the surgery saw that, and he was so moved that like he got all teary eyed. And Erich was there, with him, and he was amazed at Baba's powers of endurance. Now, what's endurance, guys?
How much you can handle pain?
Yes, absolutely. Pain or anything else, right? Like if you're running, endurance is how far you can push yourself, right? So basically I really thought it was interesting to share this because even before Baba came to America, like, this is only a couple months before, he was undergoing surgeries, etc. So he was already in pain before he even came here. So the rest of the story goes where Gohar and Don were present and they were also like dumbfounded, right? That means they were so surprised. Um, and basically, he had his mandali like Don and Padri who helped him for a few days. So the next morning, there's a note which says Baba passed, a very restless night, and in the morning he said he felt tremendous nervous exhaustion, and also mentioned to Kaikobad that if he was to go back, I will put in words. As if he was to go back, I'll put the words as he said it in Gujarati. I feel like I'll now return to my home, his eternal abode. So it was sort of a nervous fright, though it cannot be attributed to the operation or the piles where they don't pain him. In general, his condition was really bad. So Baba was already really suffering before he even came to America, or they went to go get their visas. So who wants to read next? Sahana, do you want to read saying on the 7th? So this is March, right? So it's just building up to the story.
Yeah. So do I start from Baba?
On the 7th. Yeah.
Okay. All right, wait. So on the 7th, Baba and those going to America were, wait, what is that? I can't read it. The screen is so small.
You can make it bigger, Sahan.
Wait. Okay, vaccinated against smallpox. Is that like chickenpox?
Yes, they were vaccinated. Smallpox is a different disease. So before you get vaccinations for smallpox.
Okay. Baba became ill from the shot, and his arm became swollen. Padri, is that like one of his mentally?
Yep.
Was told to send this cable for
to Meherji.
Meherji. Baba's vaccination reaction is severe. The arm and armpit gland are inflamed and painful. That sounds weird. And
inflamed is when it's inflamed, like when it's basically swollen, right?
Oh, okay. And there's temperature.
Mm-hmm. So what does that tell you? Like, does it sound like he was having a lot of fun? No, it's very painful, right? He had surgery, then he had his vaccination, and he was in a lot of pain. So anyway, then they went back to Meherazad after some time, and now this is soon after, right? And then on the 18th of April, Meher, do you want to read this? Can you see it okay, guys?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, so Meher, do you want to read? Or Shireen, since you just spoke, you can read too, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, sure. Where is it?
The last pair.
Okay, so at 11 p.m. on Friday, 18th April, 1952, Baba, accompanied by Mera, Mani, Meru, Gohar, Rano, and Kitty, flew from Bombay's Santa Cruz Airport via Trans World Airlines, flight 905. He had not journeyed into the West since going to the Kennys in 1937, 15 long years ago. Dr. Deshmukh and his family, the Gadikars, and other close lovers saw Baba and the women off at the airport. Nearly 100 persons came, and Baba was profusely garlanded. 2 days later, Ali Sir, and Sarosh, Merji, Gustaji, and Nilu flew to New York, also via TWA.
Okay, why don't you read the next one too? So Baba, like this is a month later, right? And we skip ahead, and Baba is going to, get on the plane and go to New York. Okay.
Yep. On the morning of 20th of April, Baba and the group landed at New York's Idlewild JFK Airport, where Elizabeth, Margaret, Delia, Ruano, and Don met them. They stayed for the day at the Hotel Stadler, across the street from Penn Station. Baba and the woman left New York by train from Penn Station at midnight for Florence, South Carolina, accompanied by Elizabeth, Margaret, Delia, and Roano. Dawn was also with them. No one was supposed to see Baba off, but Phyllis Frederick and Adele Walken could not resist and had gone to the station and hidden behind some large pillars on the third-floor balcony to catch a glimpse of him. Although they were far away, Baba smiled and waved at Phyllis and Adele, spelling on his board, Philadel, their new nickname. Reaching Florence on the morning of 21st April, Baba and the group left by car for Myrtle Beach. Marina was waiting for Baba's house at the center. Because of the recent heart trouble, she had been unable to travel to New York.
Okay. So, what does that tell you? Hi, we have a new member. What's your name?
My name is Atia.
Hi, Adia. Okay, I thought that was you. I couldn't tell from here. Welcome back. It's nice to see you. So we're learning, and this is these stories about Baba's accident that happened. I know it's not like a fun thing to talk about, but you know, it's something that happened in the end of month of May. So we're all learning about it. Okay. So welcome. I'm sorry I didn't see you earlier, but we can try to catch you up. So we were talking about how Baba had planned after his new life, went back to Meherazad after 2.5 years, and then he ended up getting like some surgeries, etc. And then he is ready to come to New York. And Shireen just read about that. So I wanted to ask you something. So isn't that interesting how like Baba came to New York, and then even though nobody was supposed to see him, you know, Phyllis Frederick and Adele saw him like sneaked into the train station, but Baba still knew, right? Like how would you know if you're somewhere hidden? But Baba knew, and he spelled their names. What does that tell you about Baba? You know, and his, I guess, his uh, I guess not personality, but about him. What do you think, Adia? What do you think, Baba? How did Baba know that those guys were there, even though he didn't see them? You need to unmute.
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay, we'll give Meher a turn. What do you think, Meher? How did he know?
Baba no?
Yeah, he didn't see them, right? They were hidden somewhere behind large pillars on the third floor somewhere.
I think because he's God, of course.
Okay.
And I think he knows like everything
Yeah,
and everywhere.
yeah, you're right. So we can't really escape him, right? So if
Yeah.
you do something sneaky that your mom doesn't know, does he know?
Yes.
Yes. Do you agree, Adya? Do you think he knows everything? Yeah. Okay. All right. So don't try to sneak stuff from your parents, okay? Because Baba still knows what's going on. All right. So as you can tell, there were a lot of people who went to America with him, right? A bunch of women mandali. How many were there? Do you guys remember which names we read? Shireen, do you remember which names we read?
I think Phila and something else.
No, that's the guys who came to see them. There was Mehra, Mani, Mehru, Goher, Rano, and Kitty. So,
Oh, okay.
and then there were also people who were, Gustaji, Vishnu, and I think they also came, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go to the next slide. Sorry. I know it's a lot of people to keep track of, right? Okay. So, all right, let's move on. Any questions so far before we move on? How do you guys like this? Do you like these stories? Yeah? Okay. Sometimes it's kind of, fun to just kind of break the story down and read. So let's do that. All right, I'm going to share screen again. Meher, your turn to read, okay? Oh, wait, I have to go here. Okay. So they came to Myrtle Beach. I think I skipped a little bit ahead. And then he loved, so where did he stay in Myrtle Beach? Now that we know he went to the center, right? Now, how many of you have been to the center? Okay, Srinidhi, you went there. I know you went there recently. Sahana, have you been to the center?
In New York City?
No, in Myrtle Beach.
I don't know, have I?
Yes, you have.
I don't remember.
You don't remember? Okay. Should we look at a picture before we move on? What about Adya? Adya, have you been to the Myrtle Beach Center?
No.
No? Okay, let's look at a picture while we wait. So who was there at the Myrtle Beach Center? And who built it? Do you remember?
I think Elizabeth. And
Right, okay. Elizabeth,
Maria.
well. Who else, guys? Do you remember from the story?
Was it Norena?
Huh?
Was it Norena?
I think for sure Kitty and okay, I'm gonna show you guys some pictures. Give me a second. Kitty was there. Darwin Shaw did a lot of work on the center. So this is one of the pictures that's by the big lake, right? And do you guys remember what were the criteria for the center? Okay. What is this, guys? Shaveen, you were just there. You need to help us out.
Yeah. I think that's a cabin. Yeah.
Yeah, the lagoon cabin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a bit different.
Or maybe not. I don't know. I can't tell from here. It looks kind of big for the lagoon cabin.
That's not the lagoon cabin.
No, that's not, right? I think that's the...
I think that's Laurel.
That's where the
Oak.
kitchen is.
I think
Yeah,
so.
original kitchen, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. So this is the center. These are the
Yeah.
stairs that lead up. Oh, that's Baba there on the beach. That's where they had a gondola and they put Baba in the gondola and took him for a ride. That's, of course, the center. And this is the bridge that he walked on. Up there's the gondola. Do you guys recall? And he used to give darshan at the barn. That's Baba there. That's Myrtle Beach. Oh, that's the lagoon cabin. So that's where he would see people on private interviews. That's some of them back in the day. Oh, that's just telling us where it is. So do you guys recall now a little bit as to where the center was? Oh, and this is the barn. This is where Baba used to give darshan to everyone. Okay. So that's the center. So who built it, guys? And what were the few criteria? So Elizabeth, yes, Elizabeth, her father donated the land, right? So it had to be near fresh water. What else?
I think it had to have like a lake, some water.
And then what else?
It has to be like there had to be like, I think a lot of like nature.
Yeah. Like virgin land, right? Untouched land. What else?
Yeah.
What about the climate?
Yeah, it had to be warm.
Yep, moderate climate. And then had to be given from the heart, right? So these guys looked everywhere. And there's a really nice, actually, I want to show you a story that I had read earlier. And we can read that a little bit. Give me a second. Okay. So let's talk about the home in the West a little bit. This is from another website from Meher Mount, and the story is right here. So do you want me to read it or do you guys want to read it? You guys are a shy bunch. So essentially, right, Baba in 1941 had given, his Western disciples, Elizabeth, Norina, a task to go find a suitable place for his home in the West, right? So what were the criteria we just talked about? And, he wanted a home in the West where he had lived and worked there and others would visit from the East and West, right? They would particularly look in California, both northern and southern, because they knew California is nice, right, for the most part. So Elizabeth wrote to Baba and said, we went to Los Angeles, by car, but there seems to be a lack of water in this district, because remember, there had to be plenty of water. And that was one of Baba's stipulation, is that they have a lot of water. So in February 1944, Elizabeth's parents in Myrtle Beach reminded her of a property that her father and his business partners owned. So it contained freshwater lakes in the wilderness north of the town. And this is where, she and Norina went and they started exploring, right? The long lake, that was the place that they'd been seeking. Meanwhile, on the West Coast, Jean Adriel and Alexander had purchased a property for a center dedicated to Meher Baba, right? So that's near in the LA one. And Baba asked them to sell it and look for another location 1 or 2 hours away from the city. So the destined role of Agnes Barron, who was Meher Mount's caretaker from 1947 till her death, led to the discovery of Rural Estate in Ohio. So this is about Ohio. Anyway, so Baba, they found Myrtle Beach because that was exactly what Baba wanted. And then they ended up building it for him so that he could come in 1952, right? So that was the first time Baba came. So I wanted to share that a little bit with you guys. Okay.
Also, Shilpa,
Yes, Auntie.
one of the fifth requirement was that the soil had to be tillable soil,
Oh, that's right.
right? I think he had 5 requirements. You mentioned all the
Sure.
others: virgin
Yep.
land, moderate climate, fresh water, and given from the heart. And the last one is the soil had to be tillable, where they could grow stuff. I believe, yeah.
Yep. Thank you, Auntie. Thank you for that.
Sure.
Okay. So we're getting closer to the date. We're going to skip ahead a little bit because Baba, between April when he reached till May, gave a bunch of darshans, etc. So we're going to get a little closer to the event. Okay, so who's going to be my next reader? I think I'm going to pick on Srinidhi again. Okay.
Myrtle Beach, May 1952. Baba met with Darwin Shaw and John Bass on Thursday, 15th May 1952, from 9 o'clock to 11 a.m. in the lagoon cabin. Baba discussed financial agreements for his proposed trip to California with Ivy on Monday, the 12th. Baba had not slept for a week and appeared tired. In the end, Baba said if the money could be arranged, he would definitely go. Louis Dimful, one of Ivy's Suifs from San Francisco. What?
Sufis are, it's a group of people, and Ivy Jews was the head of the Sufis, okay? So they're the ones who actually built, the center in Ohio, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, so these Sufis, if you guys don't know what Sufis are, we can talk about it a little later, but essentially, they're more like, it's kind of like an offshoot of of Islam, but it's very like more spiritual and not so it's, and Baba actually went back and started this entire reorientation. That's why it's called Sufism reoriented, because he kind of gave them different directions, etc. How to lead a life as a Sufi. Okay, so it's kind of more of like a mystical. Anybody else wants to jump in? Shalajanti or Vimla? I don't want to be misinforming the kids, but we'll talk more about that. Anyway, continue.
Lou Dimful, one of Ivy's Sufis from San Francisco, collected $4,500 and flew to Myrtle Beach with a check for Baba's trip. He arrived on the 16th and handed the amount to Baba. Ivy tried to persuade Baba to travel to Los Angeles by plane, but Baba preferred going by car. Ivy's husband, James Terry Deuce, also arrived on 16th May and met Baba at 9:00 a.m. Terry was a senior executive in the Aramco oil company in Arabia and seasoned world traveler. So Baba asked him to plan the route to the West Coast. A quick straight route for the men Mandeli who were to go ahead, and a more casual scenic route for himself and the woman. Baba also told him, "I love you dearly, and I want you to understand, so that you may not be confused. You may think it has come about my chance, but your coming was destined. God alone is real. He does everything for everyone. We cannot escape his will. He loves us, and the goal of life is to love him, know him in absolute honesty, and avoid all temptations. Be united with him."
Okay, so let's stop there, right? So let's talk about a little bit. How many of you in school have heard foreshadowing in books that you read or in English and literature? Have you heard that term, Shireen?
Yeah, a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Maybe you can tell the rest of the friends here.
I think some movements in the story that like predict the end.
Right, or the future, right?
Yeah.
So does this tell you kind of something like, I mean, of course we know what happened, but like looking back, I'm sure nobody thought of Baba and having this accident, right? But so it's interesting how even though, you know, Dimple said, let's go by plane, Baba insisted on going by car, right? And I think that kind of is really significant because Baba did predict before coming to America that he was going to spill his blood. And it's important that he, you know, spill his blood on American soil. Now, nobody knew what that meant because, you know, Baba has his own ways and you know, things you couldn't really interpret on face value, right? So I thought that was really interesting. And also the other one is like the more straight route for men Mandali who are to go ahead, and then a scenic route for himself and the women, right? So this is a picture of where the accident was, right? So this is where Myrtle Beach is, and they were supposed to go all the way to, you know, say near Los Angeles, you know. And then this is again from Lord Mayor, so the credit goes to them, everything there. But this is the scenic route that they took. And then Prague, if you notice, is where exactly in America? If you were to draw a line, where do you see it?
The east side.
No, but if you, so this is Prague, right? Oklahoma. So where it's kind of almost, it's basically cutting America in half, right? It's the center. So that also will have a little, you know, have significance. I'm going to stop right there for a second. I want you to, oh, Jeff is here. Jeff is gonna, but I wanted to share another interesting tidbit, which I read. Okay, here. So what do you guys think so far? And the fact that he also said at the end that, you know, everything happens because of God's will. So that to me was like, oh my gosh, you know, of course Baba knew what was happening, right? Okay, should we move on? Who wants to read next? Meher, I don't think you got a turn.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
But after wait, do I read all the way to the start?
Yeah.
On Monday, 19th May 1952. As planned, Baba sent Don Nilu, Merji, Gustaji, and Adi to drive across America in Elizabeth's Plymouth station wagon to Meher Mount in California. They see that proper arrangements were made there before he and the woman in Manduli arrived. Adi sir did not want to go. He wished to drive one of the cars in Baba's group. Sarosh wanted to go with the man, but Baba insisted that Sarosh accompany the woman's group. Even Don suggested that it might be better if Adi drove the woman, but Baba did not change his mind.
Keep going.
After staying at Meher Center for a month, Baba and the woman left in two cars at 2:30 p.m. On Tuesday, 20th May 1952, Baba itinerary was to spend 9 days driving across America and reach Meher in Ojai, California on the 29th. He was to meet Gabrielle Pascal there on the 30th. Mascom Shilokis on June 1st June and got to Hollywood on the 2nd and 4th. Pascal was putting two of his homes in Hollywood at Baba's disposal so that Baba could meet people at his house. The group would then leave Mehermount for San Francisco on the 6th, stay in San Francisco for 3 days in a hotel arranged by Don Stevens, and start on the return journey to Myrtle Beach on 10 June.
So let's
Baba,
stop right there. Sorry. This is a big plan, right? Like Baba had everything chalked out, right?
yeah,
Yeah, it's a lot of plan. There were so many people involved in like hosting them and what were they gonna, how were they gonna get to Ojai, etc. Right? Okay, keep going.
yeah. Baba, Mera, Money, and Meru rode in Elizabeth's large dark blue Nash driven by her. Shamarian had wanted to drive him, but Baba said no. In the other smaller car, a Rambler station wagon driven by Sarosh, were Rano, Kitty, Goher, and Delia. Before leaving Myrtle Beach, Baba asked Elizabeth, do you have the insurance papers for the car?" Elizabeth replied that she did not. So Baba instructed her to bring them for her home. Yopan Jones.
Right. So again, this kind of is again now that we know the incidents happened. Sahana, yes.
He's sort of giving a clue there.
Yeah, but we know it now, but I don't think anyone had any idea what clues Baba was giving, right? You have something to say, Adya?
No.
Oh, okay. So, do you guys have anything to say? Do we stop here and discuss a little bit? So, what kind of clues did Baba give to these people, right? So, the insurance papers, like Sahana said. What else? Man, you guys are a quiet bunch, huh? Srinidhi or Shireen, Meher?
Well, he asked Elizabeth for the insurance papers, but and then when she said she didn't have them, he asked her to get them.
Yeah. And he also kept, like Charmaine kept saying, "Can I drive you?" And he said, "No," right? He kept saying, "No, you can't." Okay. So I do have some videos. We may have to like do it next time, but at least I want to get to the part where this happened, and we'll have to go back a little bit. Srinidhi, do you want to read? Adi, I never asked you. Do you want to read, or are you okay listening?
I'm okay listening.
Okay, Shurinidhi, this is you then.
I think you're muted.
Okay. Baba's trip begins. Baba repeatedly warned Sarosh to follow Elizabeth's car closely, and that if he failed to do so, he would never be forgiven. While Sarosh was with Baba in America, he received a telegram saying that he had been elected mayor of Ahmednagar. Soon his position would become useful to him. Gohar kept a brief diary of their trip. Leaving Myrtle Beach at 2:00 p.m., the group arrived in Columbia, South Carolina. When they spent the first night in the Forest Motor Court, Baba did not eat any supper and did not sleep at all. The next morning, 21st May, they left for Murphy, North Carolina at 6:45 a.m. They passed through the Blue Ridge Mountains, and all were impressed by the beauty of natural scenery. Saroj's car, due to its age and condition, could not always keep up, and at times lagged behind. Saroj missed Baba's car in Lawrence, and then searched for Baba's car in Greenville. At one place, Baba had his car halted until Saroj arrived, and strongly rebuked him for his laxity. Afterward, Baba's mood changed, and he forgave him. While passing through the Blue Ridge Mountains, they had a beautiful view of a place called Caesar's Head. Stopping in Brevard, North Carolina, Baba and the group ate hot dogs, ham sandwiches, and cakes. Baba appeared to be in a good mood. After arriving in the town of Murphy, they drove around while looking for a quiet motel and rested for the night at Moreland Heights Motel. 510 Valley River Avenue. Oh, the motel had a kitchenette and had a light supper with tea. That night, Baba slept well and had breakfast. At breakfast was in a good mood.
Okay, so again, let's stop a little bit and talk about here, right? So Baba kept telling Saroj, you have to keep up, right? You have to keep up. Why do you think that's important later on? Sahana?
Maybe because he needs to be there for the accident and
Yeah,
take care of them.
yeah, because if Saroj was really behind, like, would you be able to help someone if you're following them, but you are like 5 miles behind them? No, right? So yeah, that's a good guess. Anybody else? Srinidhi, you were saying something or you're gonna say something? Okay.
Yeah, like when the accident happened, his car would have to be around to like help them.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So Shaveen, you want to read the next one?
Yeah, sure. Baba's trip. They left for Memphis, Tennessee on the morning of 22nd May 1952 at 6:30 a.m. The weather was misty. Passing through Ducktown, they entered Tennessee where they stopped at Ocoee Lake. Baba declared the lake and its surrounding countryside to be among the most beautiful scenery he had ever seen, and he indicated that this old Cherokee Indian area had a spiritual atmosphere. While driving through the town of Cleveland and the city of Chattanooga, Sarash lost sight of Baba's car again, and when they finally caught up, Baba was very upset and warned that he would never forgive Sarosh if it happened again. They toured Ruby Hill Falls, a collection of waterfalls deep underground, and Rock City Gardens on Lookout Mountain, Tennessee, where Baba remarked, "This is our last sightseeing stop." They spent the night in Waynesboro, Tennessee, at the Sims Motel, which was located by a running brook at 1015 Savannah Highway. Baba had soup and wheel and slept for 2 hours.
Okay. You want to keep reading?
Yeah, sure. Then, where this one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. The next morning, 23rd May, they left at 5:35 a.m. They drove the entire day, passed through Memphis, and stopped in the Searcy, Arkansas for lunch, but Baba did not like the omelet that was served. Driving through Conway, Atkins, and Clarksville, they reached Ozark, Arkansas, where they stayed at the Pond Creek Motor Lodge that night. They had driven about 350 miles. It was a very quiet place with its own natural beauty. Again, there was a brook passing through the land. The owner had over 100 hens. Baba had only milk and bread in his room for supper, and asked for the same again for breakfast. Baba did not sleep that night and complained he had pain in his throat and stomach.
So this is the night before the accident, right? So just letting you know about that. Okay, we move on to the 24th. Does anybody else want to read? Meher, do you want to read, or Sahana?
I can read.
Okay.
And was not in his usual hurry to be off. On the way, passing through Fort Smith, they crossed the Arkansas River and entered Oklahoma. At one point, Baba had Elizabeth to stop the car, and getting out, he paced up and down the highway for several minutes. Before proceeding, Baba again admonished Sarosh to be careful and attentive, and to stay close. Again Sarosh lost Baba's car and met up with Salisaw. There Baba instructed Sarosh to drive instead. However, at Gore, Sarosh lost Baba's car and caught up with at Warner. Once they were on the road again, however, Baba ordered Elizabeth drive fast and kept telling her to go faster, faster. It had rained that night before, and the road was slick. They drove on over the rolling hills of eastern Oklahoma.
All right. So Meher, go ahead. Oh, Sahana, yes.
I watched I think it was like Discord or something. I think they put a film on this, I think.
There are a few films out there, yeah. Right.
Yeah, and I don't know what I was gonna say now.
Okay, that's okay. We're almost there, and we're almost actually at time. So let's read, and then next week we'll go back and revisit some of these points and look at it from different perspectives as well. Okay, there's a lot of perspectives that are, or I would say, that came into play. Okay, so Meher, go ahead.
At 10:15 a.m., as they came over one hill, Elizabeth saw a car toward them on the wrong side of the road. She slowed down in in the hope that as soon as the driver saw her, he turned to avoid them, but he failed to stop and collided with the car at full speed. Just as the accident occurred, Elizabeth remembered Baba raising his left hand and pointing to the oncoming car as if he were somehow directing the whole affair. Baba was thrown clear out of the car and landed on his back in a muddy ditch on the side of the road. Blood flowed from his nose, which was broken. One arm and leg were fractured. Mara and Meru were also thrown from the car. Mara had a deep gash in her forehead, and Meru's wrists were fractured and sprained. Elizabeth was pinned behind the steering wheel with both of her arms, her collarbone and 11 ribs broken. Money, who had been dozing in the back seat, was the only one unhurt. According to the police accident report at the time for insurance purposes, the accident occurred in Lincoln Country, Oklahoma, on Route 62, 600 feet from the East Country Road, near the town of Meeker, Oklahoma, approximately 10 miles west of Prague. The driver of the other car, Anthony Joseph Palermi, 24 at the same time, described how the accident occurred. I was going east in my 52 Mercury sedan when I saw a truck stopped in front of me. So I slowed down, but when doing this, my brake froze on one side, which gave the car the tendency to turn left. In doing in doing so, I made a U-turn across the highway of the road. Then Nash came at a pretty good speed and hit me in the rear.
That's right. So this is the picture, right? So Baba's car was here. The guy was going this way, and then he had to turn around, and then it hit him. Okay. Oh, I think that's where I'm going to stop sharing. But there's one more thing I wanted to show you guys. Give me a second. So that's pretty crazy, right? Okay, we have 3 minutes. Do you guys have anything to say before I kind of...
How was the reading?
Sorry, what was that? Okay. So this is actually, if you go to the Heartland Center, this is the road where it happened, right? As you guys can see, we'll read a little bit more about this later, but I wanted to point something out to you, right? So Baba said that he would shed his blood on American soil, right? He had said that before. And he had said that this was would result in benefit to the whole world. He said on other occasions that during this Advent, it would be necessary for the avatar to undergo self-sacrifice. Baba was seriously injured, and as a result, and combined with several severe injuries sustained in his 1956 automobile accident, he was never able to walk without pain again for the rest of his life. There's also one other important thing, right? The date of this event was foretold by Baba many years earlier at Harmon on the Hudson in 1932. So that was, 20 some years before that? He gave Elizabeth Patterson a small pink wildflower and told her to always keep the flower and write down the date, that someday she would know the meaning. It wasn't till years later, right, Elizabeth discovered the flower he had given her on that day, and written next to it in the Bible the date May 24th, 1932. Exactly 20 years to the day she would be driving the accident vehicle. So that is what Baba was trying to tell many years ago. But again, we don't know a lot of times, we always think, oh, why did this happen? Why did that happen? But, Baba knows more and better, I guess. So there's more that we can come back to next week, but I just wanted to share this incident with you guys. What do you think so far?
It was pretty good.
Yeah, Sahana, you have something to say?
So I think that wait, give me a minute. Let me think of it for a second. I would just lost my thought.
Okay. All right. So Adya, you joined us. What did you think?
It was good.
It was good. All right. So to me, this is important because I think the event is coming up. We're 22 days before. So every time we meet, we'll learn a little more about it. I'll try to find more information and give it to you guys. And that way, we get to know more about this. I know Jeff and Angela, you guys are here. Anything you want to say? Or anyone else who's here?
Well, that flower that was in the Bible, I don't think Elizabeth discovered that until the early 70s.
I mean, it's
incredible. In other words, and if she
literally 20 years later.
What's that?
Yeah, I remember that. 20 years later, after the accident, she discovered that it was about...
Oh, yeah, it might have been 72.
Something like that. I remember
something like that.
Fairly...
So, and if she had any thoughts about her having been the driver causing this accident, that assured her that this was destined and planned by Baba. long before she was driving that car. Yeah.
One of the things I find so amazing about Baba stories is how long the story takes. It's like the punchline of a joke, it just takes a long time for the punchline to be told. So a lot of times people's Baba stories are more interesting as time goes on because they're still living in the joke telling part. The punchline hasn't come yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. Thank you, guys. So we'll keep doing this the next few weeks. And then, I think by the 23rd or the 24th, we should have hopefully a good handle, but it's all, Baba's will. So thanks everyone for your time.
Yeah.
We will see you next week and have a great week. Anything else you guys want to say? Sahana, did you get your thought back before we say goodbye?
Yeah, Mom, I think you told me that the guy who was driving the other car who didn't know, didn't you say he had like the special car?
Yes, we'll talk about that next week more. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Car.
Yeah, I was on the board for the Heartland Center. So at one point in time, I had really studied that story. I've probably forgotten a bunch of details, but
oh my goodness, Angela, we're gonna have to have you come and talk.
Yes, let's talk.
And I'll mention one thing is that there was one woman who had a chance to see Baba in 1952. Her name was Ann Forbes. But then she heard that Baba got in an accident. So she thought, well, Baba couldn't be perfect. If he got in an accident, he would have been able to avoid it. So she didn't see Baba in 52, not knowing that Baba has different reasons for getting in an accident than just, it wasn't a mistake. And so in 56, when she met Baba, she realized profoundly what a big mistake that she had made. And she used to feel bad about that and always express that. But how could God, all knowing, get in an automobile accident? That's the question. And for her, this was just ununderstandable how Baba could have gotten in an automobile accident.
Actually, I want to ask, how many of you kids think like that, right? Like if God is perfect, how can this happen?
I don't think like that at all.
You don't?
I mean, if you're perfect, then you're practically God. But like, I don't think like that. No, not really. I think that, it's okay because he made a mistake at one point in his life, probably when he was like a kid or something. So, like, when, wait, what did you ask? Like, did you think God makes a mistake? Then why did it happen? Was that the question?
Yeah, like, how sometimes we could be like, God, why do you let this happen? We ask.
Yeah, I do that.
You do that? Okay. Anybody else?
No, I thought, like, why does God make
I do.
mistakes? I got little
We all do.
confused.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for your input and time. We'll see you next week. And thanks again. Jai Baba.
Okay.
Bye,
Yep.
Jai
See you
Baba.
guys.
Bye, Jai Baba.
See you, Meher.
Baba. Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
Bye, Shilpa and friends. Bye-bye.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Bye.
Hey, Jai Shri, Jai Baba. Yeah.
Hi, Jai Shri.
Jai Baba.
Yeah.